You're listening to Oppositional Forces. Bad guys for good reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oppositional Forces. I am your host, Scotty Don't. And with me today is the ever lovely, ever kind, ever gentle Frost Giant from the Frozen North, Mr. Frost. Say hello.
Hi.
That was anticlimactic, but I appreciate you. Today, we are coming to you, as we always do, from the Smash Labs Rage Rooms in Rage Room number 1. And if you feel like you hear a riot behind us, there is one. It is the holidays, and everybody and their sister has come in from, all over the country. And now they are all playing Magic the Gathering in the other room and having a riotous time while we record.
We talk business.
And now we talk business. So thank you for being with us. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. But most of all, Merry Yule. Yes, the solstice.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. And I failed to appropriately celebrate. And I could see it on your face, Mr. Frost. And for
we had chili. It was good chili, though.
It was good chili. But I do apologize. And next year I will do better because I misread the importance and did not plan accordingly.
Oh, whatever. We'll live.
Will we?
Maybe.
Okay. One day at a time, right?
Right. We talk business.
I'll write something inspirational on my mirror, and I'll look at it every morning. I'll put it on my dream board.
Okay. If that works for you.
It does.
How about you just do the work?
Well, fair enough. And now that I feel shamed, I will stop recording and walk away in shame and guilt and sadness.
Okay.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the subject at hand.
Okay, so the subject at hand. First of all, want to make a big shout out to our executive producer, Thomas Larson. As always, you are the amazing man behind the scenes, keeping us honest, and we appreciate you. On top of that, there's a big holiday push right now for those of you who are listening. Our Patreon, patreon.com/oppositional forces, is feeling a little lonely. And what we really need is for all of you who know us, who love us, and who listen to us, is go to Patreon right now or our website, badguyforhire.com, and click on the Patreon link from our website. And please, 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 if I could ask for anything for Yule, Christmas, Hanukkah, would be that you subscribe to our Patreon and throw, $5 a month in there and be a part of the wonderful team that helps us do some awesome things, like the convention we just went to, which was amazing.
Why didn't you tell me this? I would have played Sarah McLachlan in the background of
in the arms of the angels. Yeah. Well, and now we have copyright issues.
Hey, you can post videos with that song, so whatever.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on if the platform that you're using, the app, has the licensing.
Whatever. We're on Spotify. I play that song.
That's fair. Thank you, Spotify, for not canceling us, because I know, being an explicit show, that sometimes we fuck around and find out. So,
around to find out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So now let's jump into it. Today, we are going to be talking about kidnapping. And kidnapping is an incredibly serious subject that we are going to glass over very briefly in a way that hopefully does the information justice and presents to you something that you can immediately utilize should you be faced with a very serious situation. But also, there's so much that goes into it that I don't feel like we can do it justice ever. We've been in talks with an amazing guy who lives here in Southern Utah. That's Eros Artemis of Adaptive Ops. And sometime in January, we'll be having him on the show to talk about anti-sex trafficking.
Yay.
Which
I
don't know if that felt felt appropriate to me.
Maybe it wasn't very appropriate, but I love hearing Eros talk. That's why I say yay.
Oh, dude, he's got a golden voice, right? A voice built for radio or podcasting. But we want to be able to bring him on, and so I want to kind of bring some of these things to your guys' attention so that when he comes on, we can kind of jump past the basics and get more into the nitty gritty, because he's got some incredibly harrowing stories and a lot of practical advice. And before we do any of that, here's a promo. All right, everyone, we're taking a brief moment to talk to you about one of our favorite sponsors. That's right. The Barber Collective is a Southern Utah mainstay, U.S. veteran owned, with an elite team of classically trained barbers for you to get that dapper do, professional fade, or a cut on the wild side. Competitive pricing with walk-ins available. You won't walk out disappointed that you tried The Barber Collective. Call today and schedule your appointment. Mention oppositional forces and receive your first cut on us. You can schedule online at vagaro.com/barberco. That's VAGARO.com/BARBERCO. Or call them at 435-922-8454. That's 435-922-8454. That's the Barber Collective. Don't let that do you wrong. Go see them today. All right, everybody. So kidnapping, Mr. Frost. In the United States, we have an ever increasing amount of this particular crime. And one of the reasons we're seeing more and more and more of it is as the war on drugs kind of loses steam, winds down, and states are decriminalizing and even legalizing natural medicines. This is leading to a loss in revenue for many of the largest crime organizations that run the world.
Crack is not medicinal. I'm just saying. Oregon, fuck off.
I didn't know that they'd legalized crack.
Yeah, they pretty much legalized.
I know they decriminalized a lot of stuff.
Well, whatever.
But as far as legalization,
it's still the same thing.
I've heard of them legalizing cannabis and psilocybin, but
you can't be arrested anymore for smoking crack.
Well, that makes sense.
So,
I mean, we were in LA over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it may as well be legalized.
And watching people shoot heroin up in between their toes.
Right.
That was, thank you, LA. You never disappoint.
Right. Hey, we didn't step in human shit, so we got that going for ourselves.
Indeed. So, as I take a sip of my libation, kidnapping, like I said, is a growing issue. A lot of countries, especially south of the border, have been incurring serious issues for decades now. It's big money business, and it can be anywhere between what we call a drive-by kidnapping, all the way to nobody ever sees you again. So what do I mean by that? Reasons for kidnapping. There's a handful of reasons why you or a loved one may be kidnapped. And what I want from all of you listening at home is disseminate this information the best that you can, or share this episode amongst your friends and family. Especially during the holidays, people become greater targets. People are desperate for money. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts. People are very busy and centrally focused.
A lot of traveling going on, so there's a lot less concentration of what's going on with people moving in vehicles.
Yes. And so there are a myriad of reasons, but kind of the short list here for why you or someone you care about might be kidnapped. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, there is what we call a drive-by kidnapping or an ATM kidnapping. What I mean by this is you can be walking down the street and a bad guy, a real bad guy, and his cohorts pull up alongside you. They will assault you, shove you in a car, anywhere between the trunk and the back seat, and drive you to a predetermined ATM that is just off the beaten path and not as heavily monitored. And they will shove you in front of the ATM and make you withdraw your entire limit, at which point they will take all the cash as it comes out of the machine, and they will either leave you there or kill you.
Or assault you.
Or assault you more. And the reason behind that is very obvious. They can do this very quickly. There's not a lot of exposure time. You don't show up missing necessarily because it's happening so fast. What's 10 minutes in a day, to people who are wondering where you are, if you're missing your lunch appointment or your next meeting. So this is a very effective form of kidnapping, and it happens quite often, especially, like I say, in third world and developing countries. One of the most elevated reasons, and by elevated, I mean like, Hollywood driven, is ransom.
Yes.
Yes. This is much less often amongst what we consider you people.
You people.
You people. But this is a much larger issue for high net worth individuals and high profile individuals. So if you have a lot of popularity, a YouTube show, you're famous for some reason, and of course with all that popularity usually comes a lot of money. And if they think that by holding you and holding you for ransom, that they're going to get their big payday, then they do so. And especially when we're talking about south of the border, which is where most of our issues lie. In this particular issue, the ransom is 9 times out of 10 paid, and then the kidnappers get what they want and they do it again to somebody else. So it is not like the movies. It is not like DevGru or CAG or somebody like that is going to come kick in the door and rescue you. Nope. You're probably going to lose a body part or two as they're sending proof of life. And, when all is said and done, they'll either release you or you would have died, from your injuries, and they dispose of your body. Oftentimes still successful in ransoming you.
And they don't even really dispose of your body. They just throw you out on the street.
Right. Well, I mean, they're not going to leave him on the front door and be like, "Oh, he was here the whole time."
Yeah. Right.
The pile of rotting corpses house. Oh yeah, that's over there.
Yeah.
I think they sell weed.
It's for a good price.
And
You could stand the stench. It's good green, man.
look, and if you're listening to the show for the first time and you just like clicked in, you're like, "Oh, what's all this about?" Or Creed finally gets off of his ass and decides to listen to an episode.
Creed, our friend, not Creed the band. Anyways.
No, Creed does not. Creed the band would never listen to us.
You never know.
They're Christian rock.
And?
They're good moral people that when they see the explicit symbol, they say, no thanks.
No, they don't. I've been backstage with them. Anyways.
Name drop. More or less for the security professionals, those in executive protection, the ransom thing is actually a bigger issue than it's going to be for anybody else, because we are the ones who protect the high net worth individuals. So
yeah, you won't work again.
Yeah, if you lose a principal to kidnapping, go ahead and apply for McDonald's. Work your way up to manager. It won't take you long because you've probably got twice the IQ of the entire crew. No,
and better customer service skills.
Yes. Oh, much better. You know what? No, I hope I offended everybody that works at McDonald's. You guys make me sick. How hard is it to make?
Anyways, moving on before.
No, I'm on my soapbox now.
No.
Another reason for being kidnapped is sex trafficking. Mr. Frost, can you give us a little insight on why this is such a major issue?
Well, let me start off with those of you who have children. Sex trafficking. This is why I preach when you go back to school, even during the holidays, showing your kids dressed up on social media. You're essentially, when you name your child on social media, even though it may be friends and grandma or Aunt Kathy doesn't know that she's not supposed to share that picture or share the post onto her public page because she doesn't understand how to keep her stuff private. You pretty much set up your own ad for your child. There's a lot of sick people out there that like small children, whether it be boy or girl, doesn't matter. When they're dressed up, you've pretty much given them a picture. You've said their name. They know what they look like, all dolled up and cleaned up. It's not hard to sell them on the black market. They just post that onto the dark web or, amongst the consumers. And then they say yes. And then the ball starts rolling.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they might glass over that last fact and not realize quite what you just said. There is a menu that has a picture, potentially, of your child.
Right.
On the dark web, because the person who is putting your child up for sale knows where they go to school. They know where the child lives. They know when roughly you're home and when you're not home, and
whether they're left home alone or not.
Exactly. These things are planned out. And then as, somebody throws, a Bitcoin at them, then the deed is done. And they all, hand off in the darkness, and that's it.
Right.
So don't take our dark humor and laughter in this episode for making light of what a dark and disgusting world this can be. Understand that this is how we deal with a lot of these issues.
Right.
So,
and then being where we are here in southern Utah, we have a main thoroughway, essentially.
The I-15 corridor.
The corridor. I mean, we're a straight shot from essentially California, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take much, especially being here in Utah, where adoption rate is huge, and a lot of people like to adopt, different kids, whether they be from other cultures or, different color skin, whatever, ethnicity, however you want to put it. It's commonplace to see a minivan full of 20 different types of ethnic kids, however you want to put it. I'm trying to be PC here, but you may find a family that has 12 kids, but 4 of them are from Mexico, 2 of them are from China, and 2 of them are from the Sudan. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, and they travel, and these traffickers know that. And then on top of that, where we are here at the border of Nevada and Arizona, and kind of that way of dispersing everywhere, that we kind of have a problem with safe houses. This is where they stop. Maybe they need to sleep. Maybe they need to just hold them there. That could be one of those things of like, oh, that's the holding place. We're going to put them in this place, and we're going to sit here until maybe the money delivers, or that person meets us or is closer, or, maybe even the bidding has started over because somebody backed out.
Right. So sex trafficking is really big business, and especially, like I had said from before, as the revenue from drug sales goes down in some revenue streams, obviously the sale of fentanyl and heroin and cocaine have skyrocketed meth, but with mushrooms and cannabis basically being abound, and you can walk into a store down the street and get it. Sex trafficking is it's a growing industry, and it is a very profitable industry, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. And that's not just for kids. That's the thing that a lot of people need to really realize is that, you know, and it's not, you can be a 40-year-old woman. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. Everybody has a quirk. Everybody has a kink. Everybody has their own flavor. And it's not the fit, athletic girl in yoga pants. I mean, I'm not trying to speak ill of the fluffy ladies either. Some of you are very attractive. There's people that are very attracted to that. Older women as well. So, you know, grandmas or whatever, like it happens. And then you got to think south of the border, they still go from villages and steal their wives. Like that is still happening.
Yes. My wife's grandmother was kidnapped from a town not terribly far away from where my wife was born in Tabasco, Mexico. And that's just how things were.
Right. In high school, when I worked for a event rental company, and I worked with a lot of guys who came up for the summer to work with us, and they had wives that they had actually abducted from and from somewhere else in Mexico.
Right. So human trafficking, big issue. And you can be somewhere where you don't speak the language very quickly and addicted to drugs that you've never tried before, and working in the back room of a restaurant or a brothel in no time.
Right.
And
fentanyl's a crazy drug. So is heroin.
Yes. And very dangerous. So, but we'll get into soft and hard target stuff here in a minute to try to help alleviate that. Other reasons for kidnapping, obviously, parts harvesting. You see a lot of this in India and China. So if you are a healthy human being walking alone on the streets of Beijing, you might want to think twice about that one, just because it is real. It's not just something you see in the movies, and it's not that you wake up in an ice bath in a hotel missing a kidney. They chop you up and they sell all of your organs.
All of it.
All of them. So there's nothing really to identify later. It's organ harvesting is organ harvesting.
Right.
So,
and especially with skin grafts now.
Yeah, they don't care to leave you alive.
Right.
So, I mean, just, yeah, that's all I care to. I don't want to get too graphic about it. Right. Another reason to be kidnapped is now probably the most sensationalized, which is serial killers and sexual predators. So, not just for sex trafficking, but now for people with a personal nefarious purpose, taking kids, teenagers. We just had one in northern Utah. Thankfully, the victim was found alive, but she was in a basement, buried in a pile of coal. And I didn't see specifically how they were able to so quickly get to her, but she was missing for like 3 days.
I heard something about that, but I didn't know they had found her.
Yeah. Just a cute young redhead from a university got picked up and was in somebody's basement, pretty quick. So sexual predators, serial killers, they are all about, getting that. It does kind of part both ways. It's situations of opportunity. But then there's also, the people who hunt and stalk and enjoy that whole process.
That sounds like a
they are really having some fun in the other room.
They are. It's sidetracking me. I do apologize. But I mean, there's, when you explain it, never mind. Never mind. I was about to go into some kind of kink thing that it's not pertaining to this.
Well, far be it for me to stop you from talking about your kinks.
Well, yeah.
So let's talk about hard versus soft target, Mr. Frost. What is the delineation there? We've talked about it a little bit before in other episodes, but if you can, just give me the quick breakdown.
So a soft target is going to be somebody who is easy and probably not paying a whole lot of attention to what's going on. A hard target is going to be somebody who has their situational awareness, head on a swivel. Part of that being a hard target, if you're a parent, your head is on a swivel. Your head isn't buried into your plastic Jesus as you're walking through the mall and you think your kid's right behind you.
Cell phone for the layman in the room.
Yeah. Well, by now you would think everybody would understand what that means. But, being a hard target is essentially just being aware of your surroundings and being aware that, hey, somebody is kind of following me. Maybe I ought to, go over and hang out with Paul Blart at the mall. Or I should, whatever. Or instruct my kids, go find an adult. Maybe I don't anymore. That's kind of questionable, but still, even telling a child to be like, if they're behind the counter and they have a badge on, tell them you can't find your mom,
right?
Or whatever.
So the soft target, like you just talked about, it's a pretty easy spot. It's the person who isn't taking any mitigation or very little mitigation. When it comes to not being perceived as, the easy snatch. So, that's a double entendre for you. And the hard target is somebody who has listened to people like us, to episodes like these, to shows, and gone to instructional courses that teach you how to be aware, how to recognize the telltale signs, signals of kidnappers, of traffickers, so that you don't become their next victim.
Or sadly have already been assaulted one time before.
Unfortunately, and usually those are the hardest targets, is people who have had to learn the hard way. So a couple of things that we can do. Number one is the what not to wear. Now, for people like Mr. Frost and I, when we're talking to a high net worth individual, it's, hey, listen, guys, we're going down the streets of Israel. Okay. And
boy. Now we're talking high. Now we're talking, wow. All right. Israel. Okay.
Well, I was trying to think of somewhere that,
high threat.
So, it's not terrible, but the kidnapping rate is actually, it's there. So, hey guys, put your Rolexes away, change out of the Armani. It's time to go in Dickie shorts and Carhartt t-shirts. Because flashy clothes, flashy jewelry, flashy phones, sunglasses, eyewear, anything that screams, I have money, needs to go away. It's okay to wear those things to, the country club, to, the fun gatherings you go to and parties and what have you. But it is not okay when you are waltzing down the street to try to be impressing the everyman on the street, right? Because you're not
time to flex.
Yeah, you're not impressing anybody. What you get are two reactions. One, ooh, how am I going to get that Rolex off that dude? Or two is, look at that fucking prick,
right?
Walking down the street flashing his Rolex.
Look at this rich fuck.
It looks like his custom tailored suit is an inch smaller on his left side in the sleeve so that his Rolex sticks out further. Like, right. Come on. So no disrespect, everybody. Okay. We love you. But
maybe know somebody like that anyways.
Trying to convince the strangers around you that you have money really only works in two ways. Either one, you convince people that you're an asshole, or number two, you convince the people who are looking for, money, who has it.
Right. I mean, this is a perfect example. Like, a couple months ago, I was in Ventura. What beach was I at? Anyways, I was in California at one of the beaches, and I saw 3 or 4 actors just walking down the street. And if you didn't know who they were and other people didn't notice, you wouldn't even know that they were who they were. But when you see them on the award shows, they're all blinged out. They're all whatever. They didn't have any security with them, but they look so common that you really had to pay attention.
It's that gray man effect.
Yeah, like you really had to pay attention. And there was a couple of those people that really pulled it off. Like I had to look, and it was like, I know who that is. I know who that is. And then all of a sudden somebody stopped and was like, hey, can I get my picture with you? And they're like, yeah. And, all excited about it. But they just blend in.
Yeah.
They're not flexing in that Bugatti pulling into the grocery store.
Right. And that's why we also encourage people to travel in packs. It's important, especially for the females out there and the children, that you are perceived to have many eyewitnesses and people who care about you. The more people who are willing to fight for you or to phone the police or be a good witness, for sketch artists and lineups, the better chance that you have of not getting picked up in the first place. Another way that you can, there's nothing that everybody loves more than dead air.
Right.
I had to stop the recording real quick. I apologize, everybody. So traveling in packs, don't go to the troubled spots. The thing about troubled spots is that they're troubled spots. And we've talked about this before, know your place. And that's not some sort of slight at,
staying in your lane or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not saying like, oh, get in the kitchen, man. What I'm
foot and holding a baby.
Yeah. What I am saying is, if you are, don't sexual chocolate on the microphone.
I just was saying that was hot.
You're hot.
I know.
It's not okay to be walking around at 10 o'clock at night on Crenshaw Boulevard when your patty white Irish ass knows that you're not supposed to be there. Okay. Don't go to clubs with your girlfriend who drinks too much and is going to ditch you at the first sign, of somebody with, the goo-goo eyes for her.
Don't get chocolate drunk is what he's saying at the bar. And
chocolate drunk?
Yeah, it's a movie reference.
Oh.
I want to get chocolate drunk.
I don't even know what that means.
Those of you who know.
And the ones that know, they know. But in order to be a hard target, you need to make yourself unavailable. And this isn't to say that you can't go out and have fun and do cool and adventurous things. What I am saying is that if you're going to go off and do cool and adventurous things and go have fun, have a plan. Have people that are looking out for you. Have somebody that's going to remain sober the whole time. Take your phone, have, your smartwatch on you. Stick a air tag in your back pocket that people know about. Anything that you can do that makes you more accessible to the people who care about you and less accessible to the people who have nefarious intentions.
I do apologize. I was laughing about your AirTag situation. I was thinking about a meme that lit up the undercarriage.
Oh.
Those of you who know, you could place that AirTag into that slot as well, and you'd be good to go.
I don't know if that would get the same range, but sure, why not? So, and being a hard target is also an attitude. Not looking like you don't know where you're going, not standing around with a map in your hand or asking a bunch of strangers for directions. If you're going to ask for directions, go in somewhere, preferably a hotel concierge or a bank or somewhere that has reliable, usually vetted employees that are supposed to know their town and can give you the best directions. Going into the gas station, with, some clueless cashier, who doesn't hardly know anything outside of the route to work and the route to the bar, unless you're asking for directions to the bar,
or to the cannabis shop or something.
Right. Your best bet is to rely on those who are supposed to be reliable. Those jobs usually come with enough responsibility that managers, owners, are taking care in who they employ, and that they are capable of helping and directing people in those ways. So I like hotel concierge because,
well, that's part of their job.
Well, not only is it part of their job, but oftentimes I want to go see something that I don't really want to see, right. And they'll tell me.
Right.
They'll be like, "Oh, you know what? That's great and all, but there's a really, really cool. You want to go see the thing?
Yeah.
The real thing is actually in a basement down the street. Right. You got to knock on the door 3 times. It's actually the real one.
Oh,
it's not the display
you
one.
Po' boy? Oh, you want a po' boy?
Oh, you want a real po' boy?
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to go knock on Mama's house.
Shrimp po' boy.
Yeah,
she only starts selling after 8 because she's got to get home from the factory.
Right, and she will take care of you. She'll even set you up in her kitchen.
Tell her Jamie sent you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that.
Exactly. And then you come back and be like, here's $20 because that was the best po' boy I ever had in my entire freaking life.
Yes. Shout out to New Orleans. The little dark corners of New Orleans that right. they look pretty sketchy, but I travel in numbers. They've got some amazing fried shrimp po' boys. Anyway, you've been kidnapped. You have moments to decide what happens next.
Dun, dun, dun.
You've been restrained. You have been strapped up with duct tape. There is a lot of videos that you can watch right now. You can pause this episode and go to YouTube. How to break free from duct tape. How to break free from flex cuffs, zip ties. How to get out of being rope bound.
There's actually some pretty cool ones I saw.
Yes. My favorite technique is the perceived passive noncompliance, or the perceived compliance, passive noncompliance. So making sure that you keep, your wrists and things like that just far enough apart that it looks like they're binding you tight. But then when you relax, you've actually given yourself, a 1/4 inch worth of space, and now you can start wiggling those things free.
Right. Or you could just sweat it out like I do.
You don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, the tape doesn't stick. I just start sweating.
So go look at those. How to pick handcuffs. There's a really great course. We've talked about it before. Kevin Reeve with On Point Tactical. Almost everything I know about anti-kidnapping, I know from Kevin. And he teaches an amazing course, which is the Urban Escape and Evasion. And I highly suggest that the people who are not only interested, in their own safety and self-preservation, but that of their friends and loved ones, go take the class and then turn around and disseminate that information. He doesn't want everyone in the country to take his class. He wants the people who are going to go out and teach this to their people and force multiply. So go out there. It's onpointtactical.com. And you can see a lot of these videos on YouTube and learn how to get out of restraints. Restraints are pretty easy because oftentimes this is a rush job. They're trying to get you off the street, out of your house, out of your car, whatever it is. They are throwing something on you expeditiously. And if you know what you're doing, then you can give yourself that little extra competitive edge, so that, you know, as they're throwing you in the trunk or throwing you in the back seat or something, you can immediately start breaking free of your restraints. Okay. If they stick you in the trunk, and I think we talked about this before in another episode,
briefly,
in the trunk, take a deep breath, look around in the darkness, and you will see something glowing in the dark.
On newer cars.
On newer cars, the other ones are like red and stuff like that, but it's hard to see back there. But anything, I think it's like post 2005-ish,
I think
2010 tops.
I think it's even earlier than that. Anything after 2001, maybe.
Yeah. So you should see something, a hook, a pin, a handle of some sort, a paddle that's glowing in the dark. Reach for that, pull it, give it a yank. That is the trunk release. That is specifically for if you are locked in a trunk to escape. They are built into every modern vehicle. Okay. I don't know about those stupid little Russian cars they keep making. I don't know if they've got those, but then
I think it's a safety compliance thing. You have to for kids, because they were having big problems with kids locking themselves in trunks and cooking themselves to death because of.
Yeah, but does Russia really care about safety compliance? I mean, they've been punching those ugly things out for 40 years.
Yeah, but I mean, here in the States, let's talk here in the States.
Yeah, that's true. So pull that trunk open. Okay. You do not have to wait for the vehicle to stop. Now, if it's doing 60 miles an hour, it may be advantageous to keep the trunk just ajar enough so that you can see what's going on. Wait for them to roll onto a stop sign, a stop light, slow down long enough to make a turn. This is something that you all need to understand about being kidnapped. If you're in the front seat, the back seat, the trunk, it does not matter. You are going to have to tuck and roll it. Okay.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. And you need to get over that now. Once you come spilling out of a car, okay, cars driving down the road, you hardly notice them unless they've got loud exhaust, a crazy paint job, the bright, shiny new, Mercedes or something like that. If there is a person spilling out of a car, everybody for a quarter mile is all eyes on you.
Right.
Okay. And now you just became the hardest target of all, because the last thing that they want to do is stop while everybody readies their cell phones and starts taking pictures and video roll.
Especially seeing your hands bound if you haven't gotten out of your bindings.
Right.
And somebody's trying to snatch you back up.
Yes. So protect the head, okay, because that's the important part. Tuck and roll.
Right.
Okay. You may break a leg. You might break an arm.
It grows back.
You can be mended. They have the technology.
Right.
You can be the $1 million, kidnappee. Okay. So in order to get to that point, sometimes, like, for example, if you're still inside the vehicle with the perpetrators, and the reason I keep going to vehicle is because that is the mode that takes you from point A, which is your kidnap point, to the secondary location. Okay. And I'm going to get to that here in a second, but you have to fight like hell. Okay. You have to be willing. And this is what I tell my kids every time they go to a public restroom. I don't care if we're in Target, Walmart, a restaurant. I remind them every time they say, "Hey Dad, I need to go use the restroom." Hey, listen, what do you do if you have a problem? Yell, scream, kick, and don't stop until you show up. Damn right. You fight like hell no matter what. Because here's the thing. If they can get you to the secondary location, and that is their holding place, their processing, that's where they're going to drug you, whatever, right? The transition where they sell you off, whatever.
Handoff point, whatever it is.
If you get to that point, you are almost most assuredly gone. And you may have opportunities later on. You may be rescued. You may be paid for and returned. But that all becomes up to what the fates have woven for you. If you do not fight like hell and you end up at that secondary point, I hate to be really grim about it, you might be dead already. So if they're going to hurt you and assault you and fight you in the process of getting you to that secondary point, don't be afraid of them killing you, because the things that are going to happen to you on the other side of that secondary point, you either already are dead or you wish you were. So take that however you need to, whatever it is that you can muster up inside your body. Do not be a weak victim. Okay. The more that you comply, the more that you, become passive and submissive in a situation like that, the more power they have over you. You have to be willing, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're 4'10" or 6'7". You just keep going. And if you make yourself a hard enough victim, then they might kick you out of the car. Like, there are 20 other people we could pick up instead of this crazy bitch. Right. Like, get the fuck out.
Or it's just they get annoyed and it's like, this is too much work. This is just too much work. I mean, it's like the joke of the meme or the TikTok of, 10 minutes into, being kidnapped, my kidnappers would probably take me home and say, we don't want him. We apologize. We screwed up here, because I'd be asking what kind of things they're going to do and where we're going and how they got me here and all that kind of stuff. Like,
is that an M4?
Yeah.
Dude, where did you get that?
Hey, you know how to take that apart, right? Hey, can I show you?
Hey, if you adjust it, here, hand it to me. Let me show you how to adjust that trigger. You're going to get twice the
right. Right.
Yeah.
If
so
we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
You have to be willing to make their job the hardest job they've ever had.
Right. And I think that's a big thing for kids, because I'm going to be honest, as much as I have an anxiety attack when I hear a kid screaming in a restaurant, it makes me look. Because I want to fucking glare down their parents. Like,
right. We all want to know whose shitty parents there are, and we're looking around like, where's the shitty parents at?
Right.
But guess what? If it's not shitty parents and it's somebody who's like dragging a kid out of a restaurant and that kid's like, Mom, where's Mom? Like,
right.
Maybe I want to pay attention to that.
Right.
So, that's why I teach my kids that way. Bite, punch, scratch, scream, kick balls. I put my kids.
Twist, pull, grab. Twist, pull, grab, twist, pull. I can't even say it.
There you go.
But
we'd get there eventually.
Yeah, we'd get there eventually. But that's a huge thing. Like, there's no rules. That's the one thing that I like to press at the, you're fighting an attacker. There's no rules. There's no, I got to be nice. I can't gouge him in the eyes. I can't scratch at his eyes. I can't, grab his balls and squish and try and pull them off their body. Like, that's your goal. Like, if you can only get that loose skin underneath their forearm, but you have some fingernails, try and poke through that fucking skin and rip it open.
Shit. And if they're gonna kill you, bring DNA with you.
Right.
Make it so that they have to dismember you into so many pieces and burn you and melt you in acid, because in your teeth, in your under your fingernails, all over your body is their blood, and
right.
Make it happen. Like, make their life the hell that you're about to experience.
Right.
So, I will now climb off that soapbox.
Okay.
Do not let them take you to the secondary location.
Willingly. Anyways.
So, now you're free. You have escaped the trunk. You're a little banged up, but, you're okay. You're mobile. You've broken free of your duct tape. They didn't have a chance to get a good bind on your feet. So now you're running. where do you go?
Where do you go?
Well, depending on where you are, police stations, are not always the best place. Sometimes they're across town and sometimes they're in on it. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is make a scene and go to somewhere expensive.
And very public.
Yes. Anywhere that you can see in the immediate. Banks, a Rolex store, the ritzy hotel across the street.
A jewelry store. Period.
A jewelry store. Anywhere where it's in their best interest to have security and trained personnel, and that have the command of local law enforcement who have a vested interest in keeping those places safe for tourists and locals.
Right.
Go in and make the biggest scene from the time you hit the pavement to the time you get in there until you are certain that you are safe and you're back in your family's arms. Make a scene. Yell, scream, shout, rape, fire, death, drugs, aliens. Get people's attention. Make a big deal out of it.
That was like a muddled text message that didn't make sense at first. I was like, wait, what? Rape? What?
Rape, fire,
what?
diamonds. Like
what? Aliens?
Look,
Hold on.
People respond more to people yelling fire than they do rape.
Right.
And that's a fact. Now start yelling aliens. Dude, I'm turning. What?
Fuck.
Jose?
Right.
What's going on over there? Make a scene. Yell for police. Yell for,
Help.
And if all goes well, you're a little banged up, your nerves are shot, go see a therapist, but you're alive.
Right.
And that's what we care about. We love you. So there's that. Anyway, here's a promo. Check out our friends at Smash Labs Rage Rooms, a Southern Utah exclusive with franchise options available. You won't find another adventure spot quite like this. 5 axe-throwing lanes with a variety of edge weapons and their special Rage Rooms, where you and your friends can work out the day's frustrations by smashing TVs, home appliances, and all kinds of glassware, big and small, and an ever-evolving range of ceramic and miscellaneous items sure to thrill the senses. Call them today and schedule your date night, special event, or even large private parties. Visit their website at www.smashlabs.biz and check out all their special pricing packages, or call 435-359-2214. That's 435-359-2214. Walk-ins welcome. That's Smash Labs Rage Rooms. All right, Mr. Frost, I think we have done it. So, do you have any parting words?
Yeah. No matter how you celebrate the holidays, check on your friends. Especially those guys that say, I'm all right. Like, check on them. We all need each other. So with that, we love you and happy Hanukkah, happy Yule. Merry Yule. I do apologize. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas from Sexual Chocolate.
And a Happy New Year. All right, let's blow the door and get the hell out of here. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, share, review, leave 5 stars on whichever platform you get these podcasts. Go to our website, badguyforhire.com. Visit our Patreon, which is patreon.com/oppositional forces. And please, 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 please keep listening, keep sharing, and throw some money at your boys. Love you. Bye. Thank you for listening to Oppositional Forces, Wage War, and Stack Bodies.